Hey, so it is my pleasure to introduce our closing speaker, Secretary of Food and Agriculture, Karen Ross. And I think it's very fitting, Karen, that you're closing because the first forum that we ever did with FLUBMAR was a partnership between the California Department of Food and Agriculture and the Department of Water Resources. And here we are 6 years later, I think. And, we've come a long way. So it's my pleasure to introduce Secretary Ross. And we are very fortunate to have her as our Secretary of Agriculture. She's done unbelievable work, bringing people together, breaking down silos, looking for solutions, finding them and helping them get implemented. So we're really pleased to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That's what you wanted at the end of a 2-day conference is one more speaker, a bureaucrat from state government. I know, hold your enthusiasm, just hold your enthusiasm. Thank you for staying, I appreciate that. I'm watching all the traffic out there, you wouldn't get very far anyway. So we might as well just sit here and listen to me, right? Don't let me lose control, I think I already have. First of all, thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that you've been doing, because it is pretty remarkable to think about 6 years ago, it was a concept. I mean, for me, it really started with this crazy guy who happens to be on my state board, is now the state board president, who just wanted to try it and have people go, what is he thinking? And the fact that I had been president of California Wine Grape Growers, and he started out by flooding his vineyards intentionally just to see how long and for how much water they would hold for whatever, was pretty remarkable. And he did that all on a leap of faith, without ever being able to measure what was really going on, and hopeful that in doing something that seemed so bold and could actually solve problems, wouldn't create any unintended consequences. That's what a lot of farming is about. Every day almost is a leap of faith to work with the weather, to work in the community, to work with markets, all of the things that go into food production. But what we grow in this state, this big, bountiful, flavorful, healthy, nutrient-dense food would not be possible without water. Life is not possible without water. And we know for a fact, this year, we were living the future. I mean, honestly, a year ago, we were sitting in rooms preparing for the fourth year of the worst yet drought. And I'm old enough, I've been around long enough. The first drought I lived through, 2014 through 2017, was a historic drought. But the last 3 years were an even more historic drought. And it was our future to not have snowpack, to really understand if there's ever going to be anything that can work, FLUBMAR has to be a piece of that. And the hotter, drier strategy that was written last year and released last August really does lay out what all the tools are. There is no one thing. But for me, this is the one that provides the hope. This is the one that once again proves the solutions are on our land if we all work together. And if we are willing to really take an integrated resource management approach and think about all the multi-benefits that start first and foremost with protecting water quality, protecting drinking wells, especially in our disadvantaged communities, protecting our neighbors downstream from floods, and thinking about adding to the availability of water to continue our healthy food production. Like home run when you can hit that sweet spot. And it feels like your work has helped us get there. The work of the Department of Water Resources has helped us get here. But guess where the real work has happened and the real miracles have contributed to where we are today? It's from friends like mine at Sustainable Conservation. Ashley, and I do want to know, Ashley, I want to know of all the people in this room, what did Dr. Daniel Mountjoy put on his list? Because you know something, he was actually working on things like a FLUBMAR. I don't know that we called it FLUBMAR, but you were doing that for a long time at NRCS. So I'm sorry, Daniel, I'm going to put you on the spot. What was your number one priority? Because I don't know how you could identify just one. Daniel, how long were you in government? And you start with the money? Have you not been reading about the state of the state budget? Good Lord, people. Okay, well, we're going to ignore the deficit in federal government and just hope that the funds keep flowing, right? But it's people who are really focused on finding solutions, that were willing to think outside of the box. And sustainable conservation, I'm calling out in particular because of their record of really focusing on economically viable solutions to environmental problems. And the fact that they are headquartered in San Francisco and have focused on agriculture in the Central Valley says huge things about what is possible when we're willing to work together, set aside some of our preconceptions and really have an inclusive approach to some hard conversations. But it all starts with listening, and that's what sustainable conservation has always done. And it starts with the willingness to bring all the perspectives to the table. So at the end of the day, I want to say there have been huge benefits to this, and we started to see that. We went from the severe drought planning to the atmospheric rivers that we read would happen someday, and all of a sudden they were happening. It was the fact that we had great leadership at DWR who had started several years ago saying, we're in a drought right now, but flood is always the way that droughts end. And they were already having integrated approaches. It's not just flood planning over here and FloodMar over here and managing the state water system over here. It was an integrated approach so that we already had that network approach in that. It started a little bit under Governor Brown, but especially under Governor Newsom. All agencies working together, one team, one dream. That's our motto. And the fact that we had, and Sigma helped drive a lot of this, the fact that we had DWR and the State Water Resources Control Board meeting frequently at the program level and at the leadership level, we started to set systems in place that would really create the right atmosphere for us to work together, not apart. And at the end of the day, I'm about bringing people together because that's what food does. Food, being at the table, sharing, having joyful conversations, none of those political arguments we've read about the last few years. We're going to set those aside. FloodMar has been able to bring us together because we see the multiple benefits and the importance of every community member that has an impact or has an idea of the benefit is at the table to make sure we don't lose sight of what's important. So you've had a great 2 days. I love the takeaways from yesterday. I'm sorry about the funding, Daniel, which means you can only semi-retire until we really have the whole package of everything put together. But we also have to think more importantly about the policy changes that will continue to make this good work scalable and work at every community and the right size and the right way for that community. Policy work is possible, again, when we all work together. Bringing our lessons learned, maybe adding one more work group, I hear, because my state board president does keep me informed when he has a great idea. He called me on his way home and said, I threw out a suggestion this morning, if you could reinforce that, that would be good. I know, I've got that. One more work group. But I do think after we planned and thought about the future, and then all of a sudden we were in the midst of implementing it, this is the perfect time to address those barriers, to bring people together. CDFA and the State Board of Food and Agriculture want to be a strong partner for all of you. We don't have the authorities, but we're really good at bringing people together. There could be some good meals, maybe some adult beverages or milk, whatever your choice is, as we work our way through that. So I just want to thank you all for your attention, for the fact that you've done the hard work. 6 years is remarkable. I know we're still at truly the beginning of this, but the beginning has shown us what is possible. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. We're Californians. We will find those solutions. And yeah, the future is here now. We're going to show many, many, many other places on Earth how we can do this and how we can do it together. So thank you very much.
I think that's it. Secretary Ross with the mic drop. From the bottom of my heart, thank you all for being here, for joining us for the last 2 days. It was my sincere pleasure getting to know many of you more. I still think there's a few people I have left to meet, but please, safe travels home. We've got some follow-up to do and cannot wait to report back.